Om Namah Pranavathaya Shuddha Jnanaigamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namah. Kusunpola, Namaste, good morning. How are you? Good? Yeah. So today I will be speaking about expanding our consciousness and being equanimous. We have been hearing about mindfulness for a long time. You know, one side effect of mindfulness, having a big smile on the face. Do we have that? That's good. All are mindful. Superb. Today's theme, Many rivers and one ocean reminds me of a Sanskrit verse. Akashat patidam toyam yadhagacchadi sagaram sarvadeva namaskaram keshavam pradigacchadi. Which means, very loosely translated, it means that irrespective of what path that you follow, whoever that you pray to, everything, the goal is the one. You reach the same ultimate goal. And before I get on to the presentation, I would like to thank respected Dashokarmaji, dear Venerable Kempoji, and as well as Professor Thomkeji for the beautiful introduction that you gave to all of us. Why this conversation matters today? This rapidly changing world poses and throws many challenges at us. And one of the most beautiful, powerful solutions that the world faces today is mindfulness, the science about consciousness, and how we can be in that state of equanimity. So we will very shortly, very briefly see what consciousness means and what does being equanimous entail. Shall we? Understanding consciousness. Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, the founder of Art of Living, I am fortunate today to be representing him. Art of Living has a presence in 184 countries, and the Art of Living program has immense relevance in today's world into taking a conflicting world into a state of being peaceful, being at peace with itself. Gurudev says, consciousness is that which experiences everything. Normally, we are focusing on what is in front of us, the scenery. Now, when we shift our focus from the scenery to the seer, then you meet consciousness. The mind is just a wave of the consciousness, which is the very ocean. It is like the mind. Sometimes we think the mind is the consciousness. Gurudev says that the mind is like a wave in the ocean of consciousness. Remember that you are the pure consciousness, which is immortal, all-pervading, and full of wisdom. And there are 3 states of consciousness, and eventually which we can, with our practices, we can arrive at the 4th state, the evolved or heightened state of consciousness. The first one is the waking state, then we have the dreaming state, the sleeping state, and finally the turyavasa, the superconscious state. And this, what we refer to as consciousness, expresses itself in 6 ways. Ichha Shakti, which means the desire, the power of desires. Jnana Shakti, the power of knowledge, knowing things. And Kriya Shakti, the power of action. Then comes the fourth one is Shanta, the ability to remain poised, calm, peaceful. Vimarsha, understanding. It's slightly different from the earlier state that we saw as knowledge. Knowing something is different, and analysis, being a little judgmental, not in a negative manner, but analysis and knowing, okay, is this good? Is this bad? Yeah, that's nice. So this is Vimarsha, yet another expression of our consciousness. And then we have Prakasha, the light, ultimate one. So consciousness moving on the surface of the body is stimuli, and it causes pleasure. When consciousness shrinks, the sensation of pain and suffering arises. Suffering or pain is shrinking of our consciousness. So if you're feeling a pain and uneasiness, uncomfortableness in your within mind, then it shows that you need to allow the mind to expand. It's because of the consciousness that is shrinking. When consciousness moves through the body in limited channels, pleasure is experienced. Repeated enjoyment of the stimuli causes inertia and dullness. Often, cooks don't enjoy their own food. Listening to the same piece of music loses the charm. People in the sex industry do not enjoy sex. If the stimuli are observed, then consciousness expands and becomes space. Another very simple way of an analogy, if we can draw, it's like attending to your breath. When your breath is in your nostril, it's very finite, very defined, right? And the moment you breathe out, the breath becomes infinite. It joins with the infinity, correct? So just like that. So our consciousness, when it shrinks, it is finite, but we can allow it to expand. The natural tendency of consciousness is to expand, to become bliss. Just like natural tendency of water is to flow down, natural tendency of air is not to be pressurized or contained in a confined space. It is to expand. That is its nature. Similarly, it is the nature of consciousness to be expansive, to be infinite. The awareness of consciousness. In moments of joy, silence, gratitude, we experience expansion. This is a glimpse of our consciousness. When all other experiences subdues, then what remains is pure consciousness, says Gurudev. So this practice is to deepen this awareness. We will come to that in the, after a couple of slides. And why expand consciousness? The way to expand from individual to universal consciousness is to share others' joy as well as sorrow. As you grow, your consciousness should also grow. When you expand in knowledge with time, then depression is just not possible. Your innermost source is joy. One surefire recipe for being depressed, always thinking about what about me, what about me. When we share our joy with others, when we take part in others' joy, and when we praise them for their achievements and console them in their sorrows, then our consciousness expands. And Gurudev says, be like a flower. Often people go to Gurudev with flowers and offer flowers to him. And he always says, I don't need any flowers. I want you to become like a flower. One nature of flower, a fragrant flower, is that it doesn't discriminate between, or it's not selective about who it gives the fragrance to, right? Whoever comes nearby can enjoy the fragrance. It's not discriminative. So therefore, just like that, the love, the compassion, the kindness, the friendliness that we have should be like a flower. We should radiate that like a flower all around us. And then our consciousness expands. Just as an expanded mind without sharpness cannot bring holistic development, expanded consciousness is peace and joy. Focused consciousness is action and creativity. The balance between the expanded consciousness and the focused consciousness brings perfection. Just as a sharp mind without expansion causes tension, anger, and frustration. And you know what allows us or facilitates this? It's meditation. Meditation sharpens the mind through focus and expands the mind through relaxation. So this focus and relaxation at the same time, that is very important. When every bit of the expanded consciousness becomes sharp, focused, that is the awakening of your infinite genius. Now comes the tools to awaken and expand. Breathwork, pranayama, and then in Art of Living we have a very specialized, unique program called the Sudarshana Kriya, a very impactful breathing technique. So this is one aspect, and then leading into meditation. Are we all aware of our breath? Normally, are we aware that we are breathing? We often take it for granted, right? Whereas breath is so vital for our existence. And not just that physical action of breathing, it is also connected with our mind. You know, our existence has got 7 levels or 7 layers of our existence. The body, on the one hand, the very gross one, and then we have the mind, intellect, memory, ego, and the self. So on the one hand, it is something, the body, it is very concrete. And on the other hand, they are the subtler levels of our existence. And what connects the two? It is the breath. The breath is like a string with which we can control the kite. And our mind is like the kite. Given a chance, it will just go flying wherever it wants to, wherever the wind takes it to. And how do we control the mind? If you try to control the mind, can you? If you tell the mind to come here, where will it go? It will go somewhere else. Right now, what's happening in your mind? You will be thinking of many things. My co-speakers will be thinking about their session. You might be thinking, oh, what is there for lunch? Yeah? And what else to do in this beautiful country of Bhutan? It is the nature of the mind. So how do we manage it? We don't want to control it, but how do we manage it? It's through using the power of breath, using the power of breath to harness the power of our mind and consciousness. Attaining higher states of consciousness doesn't require any complicated strategy. One just needs to learn the art of letting go. The confluence of knowledge, understanding, and practice makes life complete. Equanimity, a very powerful state of being, to be in. In Sanskrit, 2 more minutes? Thank you. In Sanskrit, this wake-up call is very important. That also brings us back to the present moment, just like breath. So you are our breath. You know, in Sanskrit, there's a saying which says, Shitoshna Sukha Dukkha Samabhavana. Shitoshna, whether it is hot or cold. Sukha Dukkha, whether pleasant or unpleasant, whether comfortable or uncomfortable. Samabhavana, being unaffected by these two. And that is the state of being equanimous. Equanimity. It's like a droplet of water that falls on a leaf of lotus. Padma Patram Ivambhasa, it is called. When a droplet of water falls on the lotus leaf, it just, will the leaf get wet? It doesn't, correct? It is unaffected. So similarly, being unaffected by, irrespective of whatever happens to us. Somebody says some negative about us, criticizes us, oh, we feel bad about it. At the same time, if somebody says, gives a compliment, we'll be flying high, right? In both the cases, we are thrown off balance. So whether it is compliment or criticism, being unaffected. That is equanimity. In Bhagavad Gita, it says, Samatvam yoga uchyate, which means equanimity in the mind is a sign of a yogi. It is the ability to remain centered in adverse situations. Equanimity in daily life, it's important in stress management, very, very critical in relationship management. All married people will agree to me, I'm sure. Leadership and inner peace. And how do we cultivate equanimity? Practicing purity, maintaining discipline, practicing breath work, Sudarshana Kriya, and meditation. Conscious individuals create conscious communities. Let's pause and experience meditation, final reflections, and thank you so much.